So here we are. Today we're on the bbc.co.uk news website, and this article here is about passwords and the difference that there's between passwords and pass keys, I should say. So the title reads, UK cyber chiefs say it's time to ditch passwords for pass keys. What are they? Okay, and there's the lady in the Getty's image on her phone. So let's scroll down to the article. So Liv Mahone, Liv McMahon, I should say, the technology reporter, 2 hours ago, has just written this article, it seems, and here we are. We're going to read it. So it's over to you, Ruslan.
People in the UK have been urged to start ditching passwords in flavor of passkeys were available as a way to secure their accounts online.
Okay, let me interrupt you. Let me interrupt you.
Right?
Okay, so let me read the whole thing through, that little bit through. So, my reading is people in the UK have been urged to start ditching passwords in favor of pass keys where available as a way to secure their accounts online. So, the words I noticed there was perhaps the word urged.
Yeah,
So,
it's actually new words for
oh,
me.
okay, that's interesting. So if you urge someone, you're sort of encouraging them to do something. So you might urge your young baby to eat their food. Oh, come on, eat your food, it's good for you. That sort of thing. So often when you're urging someone, you're trying to get them to do something that they probably should do.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Um, maybe the word, so this is ditching, ditching. So here they're using it to mean get rid of, don't do it anymore. It's like saying you might say, "Oh, you should ditch smoking. Smoking's bad for you. Ditch it. It's bad for you." Smoking, say. But here, of course, it's passwords. Strangely. Um, so I think the idea is you might throw it in a ditch. So a ditch is like a drain or like um, a culvert in the ground where dirt and rainwater gathers. Sometimes other rubbish too, I guess. Okay. Or it's
It
more like a
is.
trench, I suppose, really. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, actually, I guess we can say hot uh, a pothole, yeah, like a ditch,
A ditch. I said a
ditch.
hole. It's more like a trench. So I suppose really with the ditch, I tend to think of it as a long hole or a trench. A trench.
Ah,
Probably
okay.
more like a drain, perhaps, where water flows down. And in a city, I guess it might be dirty stuff, rubbish in there. So ditch.
Yeah, like a channel. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be a hole, I suppose, but normally, most of the time, people think of them as being like a channel of some sort. A di Often ditches are thought to be just dirty. They've never got clean water in them, I would say. Ditch.
Okay.
So it's a noun and a verb here, but here, of course, it's more of a doing word, isn't it, really? You use it to mean to throw, because you throw rubbish into a ditch, they're using it to mean like a place to get rid of. They're using it as a verb to encourage people to throw things away.
Okay. Okay. Like
Yeah, but it's also a thing too, a noun. And I think you put an L about there, so you made it into flavour. Yeah, I used to mix that word up too, actually. Flavor.
Favor, yeah, it is actually favor, in a
Yeah,
favor.
favor. Yeah, that's right. So sometimes you might do someone a favor. Oh, can you do me a favor and lend me a cigarette?
Yeah, like a help, yeah, it's favor.
But here, it's in a sense in if you do, but in this sense of doing something in favor of something else, it means you're doing it in place of something else. So you might have a favorite activity and another activity you don't like doing, and so you do the one you like doing in favor over the thing you don't like doing. So
Uh,
I'm going to do smoking in favor or in favor of vaping because I hate vaping, but I love smoking. Does that make sense? I haven't explained that very well. Let's stick it in the dictionary. Hirsute. If you're very hairy, you're hirsute. That's that word there. Favor a policy. Yeah, you can favor a friend over or favor a child over another child, maybe. So the Americans take the you out often as not. So if you regard something or someone with favor, you like or support them. So you can show your favor to somebody, which means basically showing you like them in a sense. You prefer them from over somebody else. If you do someone a favor, I think you know that one. That means you do them something nice, and then a week later they do something nice for you. That's a favor there. It's not ends in sex here. So if you say that one person gives or sells their favors to another, you mean they have sex. That's old fashioned. Yeah, that's old fashioned. So a lady's favors is really referring to sex, really. But again, it's a little bit old fashioned. I probably use that one. So if you favor something, so it's not a person, so it's a thing, you prefer it, which is what I was saying about cigarettes and vaping. You prefer it to other choices available. So it says here, this is an example. The French say they favor a transition to democracy. So here you could say prefer maybe, or they want, or they would rather this thing happen maybe. That's another word you could put in there. So the French say they would rather a transition to democracy, but the word's favour, of course. And the other one is he favours bringing the UN into touch with modern realities. Yeah, so he thinks it's a good idea, or prefers, or would rather bringing the UN into touch with modern realities. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
It's one of these
Um,
words which has got some really sort of widely different ways of using. They are sort of connected. Where's the article? Let me close this window because it's confusing me when I look back. So that's one we were looking at. Let me close this other one here. That's the sort of title article. So favour. Okay. Do you want to try to make up a sentence using the word favour? So we had the ones about.
yeah, but actually, do you want me to create the sentences
Hmm.
in in like this context? Yeah,
Yes, if I go back to the dictionary, so the bottom one, which was it a verb? Yeah, a verb. This one is. So the French say they favour a transition to democracy, something like that. Can you
yeah.
make up a
Okay,
sentence using something using the word
okay,
favour
yeah.
in that sense?
Um,
Prefer or rather?
I favor to use my car instead of train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Or, for example, I did yesterday favor for my friend. Yeah.
Hmm.
Can I say like this
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
a second way?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. That was one of the other. That's it. That's one of the ones up here,
y-
isn't it? Yeah. So I did
Yeah.
a favour for my friend. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And so
Or
the other one you said, just to update a little bit, you said about the favour the train or the car. So you might say for that one, I favour the train over the car, or the other way around. So I favour the car over the train. That's one way. That's a simple way of putting it.
Over, yeah, you put it
Yeah,
over.
over. Yeah, that's it.
Okay,
Yeah. So I prefer something over something else. Yeah, so it's prefer.
okay,
It's almost like saying similar sort of like in a sense, you could say, but it's not too far different from that.
okay.
So let's go back to our article. Here we go. I found it easily that time. Okay, yeah. So yeah, that was nice. That was well read, I think. Do you want to just say those words again? So that one was urged, urged.
Edge,
So you might urge someone to do something. And this is ditch or ditching.
ditch, ditching,
Yeah, and favor.
favor.
Yeah, that's great. You got it. Do you want to carry on? So from about there, I think wasn't it from there on, maybe?
Okay, passwords have long been the default way many people set up and log in to accounts for digital services.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, that's fine.
my pronunciation and yeah is not so understandable.
You're a bit tired today, maybe. It is Friday after all, so it can be quite
Yeah.
tiring. No, you do. I think you're doing okay. You're doing okay. As long as you're learning something and something's going in and you're changing, updating your knowledge of words, etc., and meanings. So, anything you want to go back over on that little
Yeah,
bits there?
let me
Yeah.
just double check only one word. Uh, do I understand correct that default
Hmm.
it is the same like failed, yeah? Or no?
No, not really. Default. The word fault without the de on the front does mean a fail in some sense. But normally when you're using the word default, it means go back to the ordinary, simple settings or assumptions. So let's just quickly search this maybe. That would be the best thing to do. Default. You can default on a loan, which means you don't pay back a loan or you have trouble paying back a loan. Um, Sometimes with computers, you talk about the default settings. So the sort of the standard settings. So as a verb, it says if a person, company, or country defaults on something that they have legally agreed to do, such as paying some money or doing a piece of work before a particular time, they fail to do it. So if you default on something, it's we're saying you failed on doing it. So that's sort of fault in a way, isn't it? Not pay
They
back a loan or not,
failed
not
to do it. Okay, they yeah,
mm,
okay.
in that sense. But hopefully few people default on loans. Probably thousands do over a whole country. But as a noun, it says um, the corporation may be charged with default on its contract with the government. That's basically using that verb version, I think, there, isn't it? Pretty much. But they're saying as a noun in that sense. As an adjective, a default situation is what exists or happens unless someone changes something. Oh yeah, so a default situation is what exists or happens unless someone changes something. So if you went into a coffee shop, said, "Can I have a coffee, please?" They give you the default coffee, a basic simple coffee. But if you went and say, "I wanted a coffee latte," actually a latte with fat-free milk, only half a spoonful of sugar, that's not a
Yeah,
default
yeah,
one, isn't
okay.
it? Yeah. I think that's most of the time I hear about default with sort of computers, I suppose, really. So the default also is a particular set of instructions which a computer always uses unless a person using the computer gives other instructions. That's the sort of common one, isn't it? I think really. Yeah. So that's computers again, really. So I think that's it, really. That's all the uses of default. So really, it's not really fault as in error as so much. It's really just the two words together have another meaning really. But having said that, so are there two ways of saying it? There's probably other. Is it two ways? So let's listen to defaults,
defaults,
and they're saying a pronunciation note here. What's this one?
default,
So, wow. So default is another way of saying it. So if you're saying default, as she says it there, default,
default,
it's for meanings two and three. So there's a slight different way of saying it, which is something I was unaware of, forgot. So if you're using it in these two ways, you meant to say default rather than default. Interesting. I don't normally do that, I think, personally. Okay. I think we all know what digital services are. I suppose that's banking,
Yeah, digital
anything.
services.
I suppose
Yeah.
anything you log in for, really. So it could be your ISP as well. Okay, so do you fancy carrying on? Do you want to do these two next couple of paragraphs, maybe?
Okay.
Okay.
However, however, the National Cybersecurity Center said on Tuesday overhauling decades of security practice to instead recommended passkey, passkeys as the most secure option. Platforms including Apple, Google, and X already let people use them instead of passwords. But what are passkeys, and how do they work?
Yes. Yeah, that was nice. Anything you want to ask about there?
Mm, yeah, about
Mm.
overhauling decades.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think your pronunciation was fairly good on that. Yeah, it was
yeah,
pretty. Yeah.
but
So yeah.
about the
Mm,
meaning, yeah, overhauling,
mm,
I'm a bit, I'm not
unclear.
sure. I'm not sure exactly.
Mm. So a lot of the time, when I hear the word overhauling, they talk about a car or a lorry is being overhauled. And so that's sort of where they take the engine apart and they renew lots of things. They renew bits of the engine. So it's where small things get fixed, problems get fixed. They sort
Uh,
of go round the engine,
it is
basically.
like a
Probably the whole vehicle as well, the sides of the vehicle, the wheels too, perhaps. That's an overhaul. So you might also say a major overhaul or a drastic overhaul, which emphasizes how serious it is.
uh,
So overhaul is about fixing things, improving them, changing them, modernizing it. If it's 10 years old or something, you might modernize it
for
perhaps.
example, Tony, I have a questions.
Mm.
Could I say, for example, this road should be overhauled
Hmm.
soon? Yeah, can we say like this? Or it is
That sounds
just
reasonable. But did you say road? This road needs
road?
overhauling. Did you say?
Yeah, this road need to be overhauling.
Um, Well, I'd probably say overhauled. I put an ed on the end.
Ah,
If I was going to put it your way, I would say this road needs overhauling. This road needs overhauling to make the engines
okay,
all fit.
okay, and yeah, we
But
can
but uh,
use.
but but if it's a road, I'd probably say this road needs resurfacing. I wouldn't really say overhauling. So I suppose you might talk about processes inside a business being overhauled. But because there's another word which you would use a perfectly good word you would use, say, for a road when a road has problems. Um, you probably wouldn't say overhauling. It doesn't really. I've never heard it used that way. So it tends to be vehicles get overhauled, processes get overhauled, say business processes, something like that. Does that make sense? But not really.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. And
you wouldn't use it, say, with vehicle with outside of that. Let's quickly see some examples for the use of the word overhaul on in the dictionary. This is a very good dictionary, I think. It almost always gives some fantastic examples. So, whoops, I almost clicked on an advert there by accident. So again, there's a punctuation note here. So the verb is pronounced one way and the noun is pronounced another way. So let's quickly see how they use it. So they had ensured the plumbing was overhauled a year ago. They ensured the plumbing was overhauled a year ago. Yeah, I suppose so. Our car, yeah, this is the classic example. Our car was towed away to have its suspension overhauled. So it needs presumably some fairly detailed work, maybe. Um, the overhaul of aero engines. I suppose, so that's plane aircraft engines. We say aero in this sense, aircraft engines. So that's
yeah.
the verb. So some good examples here. So again, so the government said it wanted to overhaul their employment training scheme. So this is sort of like a process inside a business, or in this case, government, of course. And this one here is the legal system needs to be overhauled. So again, it's a process inside the way the courts work. They're saying here needs overhauling. Um,
It's like yeah, like updates. Yeah, probably.
Yes. Yeah, if you think about it, everything over at some sort of period of time needs overhauling. It needs someone to look at it and say, does it work for us today? It may have been great in the 1960s. We want it to work for today, though, in the 2020s.
Mm,
So when we
okay.
have a different way of living, etc., things need changing. But it's interesting, they're talking about government processes and sort of things you might be inside in a business, vehicles and engines. That's often where you talk about it being overhauled. So you
Oh,
can stick it in a few other places, but you wouldn't say this road needs overhauling
yeah,
or this light bulb needs overhauling. It doesn't work at the moment. I need to change the light bulb, that sort of thing. So
and I wouldn't say, for example, my room needs uh, to be
yeah,
overhauled. Yeah,
no. But what would you say? What would you say?
I would say my room need to be
Yeah, that's a good
refreshed.
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, this room needs refreshing, I think. Or I'd like to
refreshed.
refresh this room sometime when I have the money and the time. Or you could just say, I would say redecorating. Yeah, let's redecorate this room. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, tricky. It's an interesting way we use words, isn't it? But we'd
Yeah,
never say, let's redecorate this car engine.
yeah. Okay.
Oh dear, that'd be funny. So let's quickly just go over the different ways, the noun and the verb way. So this is something I've really forgotten about, really. So the verb is pronounced
overhaul,
overhaul, and they're saying here it's overhaul is the other way, I think. So then, and the noun is
overhaul,
yeah. So the name of the process is overhaul, whereas the other way it's overhaul, which is tricky, isn't it? Just be aware of that for the moment. I don't know how
Mhm.
much people use it really.
overhaul,
I clicked on that by accident there. Okay. Anything else there that's worth looking at?
No, it's actually yeah, easy one.
So I think maybe the W and the V is a bit tricky here. So
Yeah, okay.
maybe just read that bit there. So shall I read it first? So, however, however, the National Cyber Security Center, so you'll go, however,
Mm. However,
mhm,
the National Cyber Security Center.
yeah, that's it. Nice. And you corrected yourself there. That was good. That's good. And your however is definitely getting better, I would say there. Yes, but it is a bit tricky. And it's one of
Mhm.
those ones where you see there's a comma. It's one word and a comma. So this is sort of saying that it's sort of a little bit like on top of what we just said, or almost despite what we just said, or bearing in mind what we've just said. That's you could almost put those other words in there to replace this one. Um, so what you can say is, however, you can sort of give actually a little bit of emphasis to that word, and then sort of
Yeah,
say da 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 da. So do you want to just try it once more? However,
however, no, however,
it just sounds a bit weak in the middle. I think the how is getting is pretty good, I'd say, but when you get to the ever, it just sounds ooh, it just sort of
okay,
it sort of disappears a
okay,
bit. So maybe just say how,
okay.
then leave half a second gap,
Mm.
and then say ever. So with the V, I'm pushing my lower lip up into my upper teeth. Get the v, and the bit is I think it's like that, something like that. I'm doing. So I try. I'll say it the way I've said. So I'll say how and then ever. However, how slight gap, ever, however. Give it a try.
However, however.
Yeah, you're just disappearing. I can't really hear what you're
Mm.
saying,
Mm.
but
Okay, one more time. However,
yeah, that's definitely getting better. Definitely getting better. Yeah. Um, maybe the ER. I think because you just done the V in front of it, that the next sound is just tricky because the V is so tricky for you, I think, and I think for a lot of people, it's not just you, to be honest. Um, the next sound, whatever that sound is going to be a little bit tricky. So, do you remember what we say about the ERs often, how we pronounce them? The sound we normally make?
yeah, it's actually, oh, oh,
Oh,
yeah, yeah, oh,
it's sort of half there, I would say. What I've said in the past, I maybe I've said this recently. I always think about it as if someone's just punched me in the stomach. I,
oh,
I might say ah, but
yeah,
it's more uh, like the
oh,
air
yeah,
rushes out and it
okay,
kind of that sort of a sound. It's more of a it's nutty, I know.
yeah,
Um,
okay,
it's a tricky sound again, maybe, and sometimes it's slightly different to other places. But if you remember I've said about it's the same sound. Say with OR, ER and OR normally make pretty much the same sound, and also AR makes the same sound. So
yeah,
it's sort of normally it's a sort of but it's the Americans who say The Americans say so you're sort of in the middle. I can't say you're wrong necessarily, but it's that would be like an American accent to it the other way, I would think. Um, so we'll leave it for the moment. We'll do it once more and then we'll leave it. So whatever happens. So however, ever, you'll go.
well,
I couldn't really hear it. All I heard was how, and then you sort of died out a bit. So it's probably the internet, or the phone, or my headset, or something, something like that. So yeah, the bits I have heard, you're definitely getting better on that. So it's definitely
Yeah.
worth bear it in mind as something needs getting, working on. It's the W and the V, but you are definitely getting there. Um, and the only other thing I think noticed was, so this is obviously the new name. New name. It's had it for a long time now, isn't it? But so this is the old Twitter, isn't it? Um,
Really?
or the new name. Yeah, Twitter. We don't call it Twitter anymore, do we?
Yeah, but I have never used the
No, nor
Twitter.
have I. So Elon Musk be kicking me in the head now. So it's now called X.com.
X.
It's now called
Okay.
X.com. So I think I think you maybe tried to pronounce it, and I think you said perhaps Eeks or
Yeah,
something. I can't
X.
remember now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so
X.
just say X.
X.
Yeah,
Like X, which we write. Yeah.
yeah, it is. I think basically it's a capital X. That's really what they've put on the screen, a capital X. Yeah. So a small X is that, and that's a big X, isn't it? So yeah. So just
Yeah.
noted. So that's the new Twitter. But it's had this for, is it 2 years, 3 years? I don't know. I don't know when Elon Musk bought it now. So it was when Elon Musk bought it, he changed the name, and it's now his personal sort of mouthpiece now, isn't it? Really, it's got nothing to do with free speech anywhere, as I can see. Um, Unless it's just his free speech. Okay, so here we go. So there's this bit here now. Do you want to do that bit too? Well, let me read. Let me read that bit back to you. Actually,
Okay.
I think I meant to
Okay.
read some of them, didn't I? Um, So, however, the National Security Cyber Center, NCSC, said on Thursday it was overhauling decades of security practice to instead recommend passkeys as the most secure option. Platforms including Apple, Google, and X already let people use them instead of passwords. But what are passkeys and how do they work? Good question. So hopefully we'll getting onto that now. So do you want to do these next couple of ones here? So here
Okay.
shall we go.
The advice comes
Let me
after
stop you. Let me stop you. So the first
the
word, maybe.
the the,
Mm.
the advice.
No, it's more. It's more. It sounds more. It sounds too much like
Uh,
the.
the
Yeah,
the
the.
advice the advice comes after years of warning people against using simple codes, which can easily be guessed, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as well as pet names as passwords. Against a backdrop of rising data breaches, the uh, the 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 NS the NCSC has also prepared warning against refusing the same password for different sites.
Yeah, yeah, that's nice. Not too bad. Anything there?
Against a backdrop, backdrop, a backdrop, yeah,
Mm.
backdrop.
You could say a background. What's happened in the past, I suppose.
Uh,
Does that make sense? The background. So the background news of what seems to be happening all the time, maybe.
Background. Okay,
Sort of a
okay.
background, sort of a background. So let's tap it into the dictionary.
Yeah, it is like a recent past, yeah, background, or not
Uh,
actually recent.
let's see what they say. So a backdrop here, one of the original meanings, it was used in the theatre. So strangely, so a backdrop is a large piece of cloth, often with scenery painted on it, that is hung at the back of a stage while a play is being performed. So in a theatre, it's sort of like a painting that goes in the background. It's always there, and it sets the scene. So you could
Um,
say, setting the scene in the article we're reading here, the scene there is lots of data breaches. That's the scene. Does that make sense? It's like we're in a
yeah,
theater and the picture on the back wall is lots of data breaches. I think that's really the idea. So the backdrop to an object or a scene is what you see behind it. These are nouns. So the backdrop to this is more the one we had. So the backdrop to an event is the general situation, that's probably a good way of putting it, in which it happens. Yeah, that's our meaning here, isn't it? So it's the environment or the situation, the circumstances, background. I think I actually said background, didn't I? So here we go. Or back no, I'm not sure what I said now. There we go. So it's this general situation at the moment, basically. Yeah, that's that one. Yeah. Anything else?
rising data, uh,
Oh,
rising,
rising. I think
yeah,
I think the very
rising,
I think the very first word you say, I generally don't hear it. It seems so when you're practicing a word, say like overhauling, really because it's just one word on its own. I find it very hard to hear what's being said. It's as if the phone or my headphones aren't working or something for half a second. So anyway, so against the backdrop of rising data breaches. So
reaches,
data breaches is an idea which is only ever which happens with really just the internet, really, I think nowadays, and perhaps secure and computers, I should say. So a data breach is when someone breaks into a computer online, presumably, or using because they found someone's password and they steal the information in the computer, perhaps. So that the information is the data, and
yeah,
when they
yeah,
break into the computer, that's the breach. That's the breach. So the word breach really means hole. It's not beach, but breach with an R there. So if
yeah,
something's got a breach in it, it's a hole, basically. A hole.
yeah, it's like a hole in some system, yeah, that
Yeah,
it
a security hole, you might say. That's it. Oh, yeah, that's it. Yeah, and these two words nowadays often go together. Data breaches. Often we use
okay,
data to mean lots of other things, but often these two words do go together. And strangely enough, the word breeches, you're not going to believe this, breeches used to mean trousers. So a
uh,
couple of hundred years ago, breeches were trousers. And even nowadays, occasionally it gets used. Because, you know why it means trousers?
mm. No, because there is for there is because trousers
Mm.
for the two leg and it some way
Yes, that's
means
it.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So
great.
it's got two holes in it, one for each leg. And presume a hole at the top as well, I guess you might say. Yeah. So it's three holes. No, or is that just one hole? I think it's just one. Yeah. Topographically, there's a bit of a debate if that has two holes, three holes, or one hole. Yeah, that's it. You got it. So reusing, that's interesting. What did I see? I think I saw. Oh, I think when you said this word, um, I think you said
Repeating.
repair. I think it said
Probably, yeah.
repair or prepare. I can't remember what you said now.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I think you've got it. Yeah, just want to say it again, just for practice.
Yeah, has also repeated.
That's yeah, yeah, that's really good actually. That's good. Good.
Yeah,
So let me have a go then. All right, it's my turn. So the advice comes after years of warning people against using simple codes which can easily be guessed, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, as well as pet names as passwords. Against the backdrop of rising data breaches, the NCSC has also repeated warnings against reusing the same password for different sites. Yeah,
but actually, it is my problem. Yeah, that
yeah,
I prefer to use one password. Yeah,
yeah.
for the different sites.
Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying? Use the same password for different
yeah,
sites? Well, that's what you're
yeah.
meant to do. That's good. Yeah, I've always find it hard to think of a password. So they have that system. There's a special thing, and I think it might even be a password manager. I think it's password managers, a special little kind of a computer program, I think, and it manufactures really difficult and long passwords, and the manager remembers it. So it's a little software app on your computer or phone, I guess. So yeah. I tend to use something like that, really. They say simple codes. That's interesting. I just said simple passwords. Why do they mean simple? I don't know. Strange word to say code.
Actually, like uh,
Mm,
only numbers and
mm,
yeah, and probably two of letters, and that's it. But they recommends, but they actually, if you create very simple password, they actually don't allow you to create it, yeah, because it is
yeah.
very simple, and they
Mm.
will ask you put it some dot or some something
Pound sign
yeah,
or
some sign,
brackets or something. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, brackets, yeah, like this.
Mm, yeah, I get that too. They sometimes say you have to have two letters, or you have to have at least one letter, at least one capital, at least
Yeah,
one number, and a special sign or symbol or something, or
yeah,
something
some
like that.
symbol, yeah,
Something like
symbol, and yeah, it's actually very important to have a capital letter there, yeah, because
that. Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
it made your password complicated. Yeah, if someone wants steal it,
Yeah.
yeah,
I suppose it doubles the number of possibilities with the letters, doesn't it? Really? Straight away doubles it, presumably. Makes it doubly hard, I guess. Okay, so do you want to read this one, next one again, or should I read? Let me read this one.
yeah, okay,
You ask me if there's anything you want to ask. Go back over. So, password managers. Oh, we just talked about it. Didn't we? So, password managers and multi-factor authentication, and they short it down to MFA, methods have grown in usage as a way to help strengthen and save login credentials. Credentials. The NCSC believes passkeys may be less vulnerable to hacks and human error, but some experts say they are still not a silver bullet. So some longer words there. You okay on these longer words or?
exactly. Authentication, yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, authentication. That's it.
authentication, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I think the first time you said it, I think that sounded like a TH. The second, to me at least, the second one, it sounded like an F. Yeah, it's like, yeah,
uh,
you've got it. That's pretty good, though. Authentication, that's it. Maybe that one too, perhaps.
yes. Strengthen. No.
Yeah, you're trying. You're trying. Yeah, that's pretty good. Strengthen.
Mm,
Strengthen.
Strengthen. Yes, strengthen.
Yeah. Your TH sounds like it's struggling a little bit. Yeah, but you're getting there. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Strengthen.
It doesn't sound like an F. I can see you, I can hear you trying to make a TH, but it's just a little bit labored. You're struggling a little bit, but that's it. You're getting it. And in time you'll be perfect, I'm sure. But the time may be years, not weeks or months. That's the problem, of course. That's just
Yeah.
learning. That's just learning anything, isn't it? It really takes age. It can take ages. So, and maybe this one too.
Mm. Um, Credentials.
Yeah, that's it. Credentials. Credentials. Yeah.
Credentials.
Yeah.
What actually
Ah, okay.
means
Um,
credentials?
this idea here is pretty much the same thing. It's not exactly the same thing. It's sort of the same thing as a password or a pass key.
Um,
But sometimes when you log in, it's not necessarily asking for just a password. It sometimes asks for, I don't know, your inside leg measurement or some other detail, maybe your email address. So really your email address
mm,
and your password, this you could say these are your credentials. Another time you might hear the word credentials, say I think I actually had recently. I was stopped on the underground train, and a man said to me, "Have you got a ticket?" And so, but I assumed at that point, oh, this guy must be a ticket inspector. He's checking to see if I've paid to use the underground. But I couldn't really see anything on him, and he didn't say I don't think he even said he was a ticket inspector. So I asked to see his credentials. And he rummaged in his pocket and got out a little card, and it said, whatever his name was, is a ticket inspector for TFL London Underground or something like that. So his credentials is really his sort of authority to do something, you could say. It proves who he is and what he's meant to be doing, I guess, what his job is. Credentials. So a policeman, you could say, carries his credentials in his
yeah,
pocket.
okay.
It's what is called his warrant card. Yeah. So the police carry a warrant card, and they're his credentials. They prove who he is. So sometimes the police goes around in plain clothes, don't they? And you don't know who they are until they show you his warrant card, and that's his credentials. Okay. So maybe this one.
What
Oh, you dissipate completely there. Maybe those few words there. So less vulnerable to hacks.
less less vulnerable to
Yeah.
harm.
Yeah, I can hear you getting there. Yeah, so maybe I think we say vul.
Yeah, vulnerable,
Yeah, yeah, that's better.
vulnerable.
Vulnerable. Yeah, vulnerable.
Okay, vulnerable.
Yeah.
Ah,
You the first time when we got practicing it just then when I said val, you were pretty good there. It was really good. But as you said it each time, you lost it slightly, sort of thing. So yeah, often it's the very first time when people say it, sometimes it's the best time. Yeah, so we'll do it once more. Vulnerable. Vulnerable. You'll go.
vulnerable.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Yeah, that's not too bad. Yeah.
Vul-
Your V still sounds. I guess it's the V and the U together. I guess is the tricky bit. This bit here. So yeah. So maybe just practice the first bit there. So I would. This first bit is the trickiest bit. So I would pronounce that as vul, vul, vul.
Val, val, val.
Um, when you're saying it, it sounds to me like like this. To me, in my mind, it sounds like you're putting an A in there. Val, val. A little
Like
bit,
A.
not fully. It's that's what I'm hearing. Perhaps
Oh,
it's my
okay.
hearing too, but I mean that's my interpretation as well. So someone else might hear something else, something different. But so I'm saying v ah l
Okay.
val.
Wow. Wow. Vulnerable.
Yeah. It's so how are you making the V sound? It
V,
doesn't sound. Yeah.
probably. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That sounds.
Wow.
Yeah. I think it's a bit better. Yeah. That's better. Definitely.
Vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's getting there. That's getting there. Yeah. I think still wants a bit of practice though, but definitely getting there. How about the word that's just below it? That word there.
Oh, this is silver bullet.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, this is a phrase in a word,
Mm.
and it is have a double meaning.
Mm.
Yeah, and yeah, actually, I guess it is a silver bullet means a very simple way, and it is very effective. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
yeah, but here not. It is means it
Mm.
is not so easy. Yeah, when we have
Mm.
a negative.
Yeah, that's it. Yes, it's the opposite, of course. Yes. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
sort of it. I would say. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's one of those phrases. It gets used lots of different ways and meant to mean different sort of things. That's it. Yeah. So can you put, say, silver bullet into a sentence? So the positive way. This is a negative way. Can you put it into another sentence where it's a positive way?
Mm, okay. Let me think a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I would say, for example,
Mm.
I found out about the about um, about
Tricky.
yeah. I found the way which helped me do my task, and it is actually seems it is actually looks for me like a silver bullet. No.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. So I found an app, maybe. I found an app that helps me with my tasks. It's a silver bullet. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Or you could actually put in it's not a silver bullet, but it's still pretty good. That app, you might. There's lots. Yes, it gets used lots of different ways, doesn't it?
Yeah, but for
Mm.
example, I need to use it for the comparing, yeah, silver bullet. Not straight away. I can use it. This app is a silver bullet. Can I say like this?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I can
you
use
could
it
say that.
and
Yeah, I
straight
think so.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah, it,
pretty much. Yeah, 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 pretty much. I would say yes.
yeah.
But I don't think you say. Well, I don't know, there's probably certain apps you could use it about where it's obvious. Like here it's talking about password managers, and I think it's quite clear what they do. An online, not online, but an app which is a password manager. You could say, "Oh, this password manager is a silver bullet," and everyone would understand that. So, silver bullet is a simple idea, and the idea behind a password manager is simple. But if it's something complex, I don't know. Yeah, I suppose you could use something more complicated too. Yeah, yeah, I think that works. Yeah, that works. Yeah, as a complement to something, that does work. Yes,
yeah, like you said, like a compliment. Yeah,
compliment. Yeah, it's yeah, or
yeah, like a
a
compliment. I see.
radical compliment, isn't it? Yeah.
Actually, we can say your thought, yeah, your thoughts is a silver bullet, for example.
Your what? Your salt?
Your your thoughts,
Oh,
yeah,
thought.
your thoughts, yeah, your
So
thought,
your thoughts are a
yeah, your
silver. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, or not exactly.
Singular, maybe? Your thoughts.
Yeah, okay. When I yeah,
It's a not.
because
It's a novel way of using it. It does. Yeah, it does just about work, but it's a bit. It's a bit too novel, I think. See,
to know,
when
okay.
you're hearing someone who's pretty new with the language
Uh,
and still using it in sort of, I guess, A ways and B ways rather than say fluent C, you wouldn't expect that complicated an idea. So yeah, it's not a bad way of using it. I don't think it definitely could be used, but maybe yeah, I think maybe it's probably best to use it in more simple ways, in simpler ways, I should say.
yeah,
Yeah. So if you're
and,
solving a problem, say in this situation, you're solving some sort of problem, and someone comes up with an answer. Oh yes, your thoughts are well, area. I said the word area. Missed out. Let's miss out the A there. So your thoughts are a silver bullet. They'll definitely solve this problem. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, I think so. It's a little bit complicated, I suppose. Unexpected might be the thing I was going to say, perhaps. Yes, no, it's pretty good. Yeah, it's nice. Unexpected. So, have I read this? Yes, I did read, didn't I? Yes, yeah. So, so maybe just practice this half a sentence here. So, less vulnerable to hacks and human errors. Have it there, maybe.
uh, mm, less less vulnerable to hacks and human error.
Yeah, I think that was the best vulnerable you said. I would say that was really good. Actually, it was really good.
Mm, okay.
But well done. But V's are always tricky, and it might even be a long-term thing, I guess. Oh, there's someone's face there. Oh, this is a short film, isn't it? So we
Oh,
might play that if we get time. Ah, now this is the bit I was interested in because I'm not too sure what passkeys are. So it says, "What are passkeys?"
yeah, it's actually the answer.
Yeah, hopefully this is going to answer it now. So do you fancy reading a little bit here, these next two
Mm,
paragraphs, perhaps?
okay.
Okay.
What are passkeys? Like passwords, passkeys are from of of authentic of of authentication to make sure it is you trying to access an account. But unlike passwords, they do not require you to remember a code or combination of letters, numbers, and symbols.
That was good. Really good. Well done. Yeah, I think you had that there. That was good. That was nice. That's pretty good. So we'll do that one again. So or so this is always or when AU always sounds like or like OR almost pretty much.
Oh,
So or authentication
authentication.
authentication. So it's still a TH sound, yeah. So authentication. That sounds pretty good. That's it. Um,
Authentication.
yes, that's really nice. That's good. That's getting it. Anything else?
Yeah, it's okay, but about the meaning, yeah, let's
Oh,
it a bit break down. Yeah,
mm,
they said this is a this is a passkey. They don't require to remember a
mm,
code. Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, most people know what passwords are, and I used to have loads at work, and I can't remember a single one of them now. So remembering stuff, isn't it? Remembering numbers and letters and
Yeah,
things.
yeah, actually, yeah, but this is
But pass keys are not like that,
mm,
as far as I'm aware. So, and that seems to be down below. So let me read that one too.
yeah.
So, like passwords, pass keys are a form of authentication to make sure it is you trying to access an account. But unlike passwords, they do not require you to remember a code or combination of letters, numbers, and symbols. So the key thing is they do not require you to remember this thing. That's the key thing, I guess. So when I read that bit there, when I got to unlike, I think I gave extra emphasis to this unlike bit. In fact, probably to the everything before the comma. So as I've said
Mm,
before, when there's one or two words and then a comma, often you can give extra emphasis to those words. And so like this paragraph here, this one starts out with two words and a comma. So you can give a little emphasis to that. So like passwords, passkeys are a form of. So I gave extra emphasis there to that bit there. So yeah, okay, that is. Do you fancy reading to the end down to the photo? That
yeah,
bit there.
okay. Mm. Passkeys are a piece of digital information which is tied to a user's account and unique to each site or app they use. Um, they use cryptography to perform checks at device level, and they usually work on, alongside tech already baked in bake, baked into device like smartphones such as Face ID and Touch ID or phones and Face Unlock on Google Pixel phones.
Mm. Mm.
Hmm. Okay.
Right. Anything there?
Yeah. Just how about which is tight? Yeah,
Yeah.
about yeah, which
Mm.
is tight. This means mm, like they want. Yeah,
Warned?
yeah. Um,
Not
which is
really. No.
not. No,
I don't
yeah,
think so.
not.
So if something's tied to something else, it's attached to it, and it
Yeah, it's.
can't be got away from it in some way. So it could be a piece of string or rope, but here I guess it must be inside inside the mobile phone or the computer. I
Okay,
guess.
yeah, yeah. Okay, the tight.
So yeah, so digitally, so it must be digitally tied to the pass key, I suppose. So it might not be in the phone. It's tied to it in some other way. I don't know how exactly, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, what is what it about? Yeah,
in some way it's joined on somehow. In some way,
yeah. Joe.
semi-permanently joined on
Okay, let
somehow.
me write it down. Tight. Yeah, because I know the words tied, yeah, but not in this context. I know in a different. For example, I need
Mm.
tied my shoes, like
Yeah,
this.
tie. Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty similar idea, really. So it's just saying something is joined to something. It's joined on, perhaps tied on with a knot. It might be a digital kind of a knot, essentially, but in some way it's joined on to something.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So when
okay.
you tie a knot, you're joining two things together again, aren't you? So it's the same idea. It's been extended, very much extended, of course. That's how I see it, anyway. Um, I think you're pretty good on that. I thought that was good. So I say cryptography. Cryptography. I can't say the word cryptography. So you go cryptography.
Cryptography.
Yeah, that's it. Cryptography.
Yeah, it's actually cryptography. It is our face. Yeah, actually.
Our face down here. You
Yeah.
mean? Uh,
Yeah.
well, cryptography really is any code. Any
Um,
code really is about code. It's something so crypt. So you hear about crypto currency, don't you? What do they call it? Crypto money? What do they call it?
yeah, crypto
So
money. Yeah, okay.
it's the same idea. It's so heavily encoded. It's so hidden within the
Um,
software, the code, that it's basically an uncrackable code.
yeah,
It's
but
part of the idea. What?
I mean, for example, yeah, to have access to
Eh,
some particular app.
oh,
Uh,
access. Have access to a particular app. Yeah, I've got you. Yeah, yeah. Go on.
yeah, you need yeah, you need your Face ID, yeah, and
Mm.
Face ID, it is like a cryptography pass key, yeah, we
Yeah,
can
I think that's
say.
what they're saying. Yeah, that's what they're saying. Yes. So, but almost certainly what they're doing, um, they're effectively converting your face into numbers and letters and other symbols, presumably,
Ah,
and it
okay,
basically boils down to a code, And cryptography is about codes,
yeah, okay, but
making codes, cracking codes. Yeah, that's all. That's all I'm saying, really. So yeah, carry on, carry on.
yeah, but you know what, Tony, problem is uh, if you have a brother or sister
Brother
and
or sister. Yeah.
yeah, and your brother is is very familiar with you, yeah.
Mm.
It actually can be the problem because your phone can't recognize uh, who are you for. Yeah, your phone actually would think that is it you, but it is actually your brother.
Is that true? So, uh, if you're using your face as your
Yeah,
access to your phone, your
yeah.
brother might get in as well. Is that right? I had no idea. Is that true? That's incredible.
I guess so because if your brother
Wow.
very similar or
Mm,
if you are twins,
mm,
yeah,
mm.
twins,
Yeah, twins.
yeah, is it actually
Normally we say plural. Actually, we are twins. We put an S on the end. I don't know why. We never say we are twin. We just
ah
say twins.
yeah,
Strange.
we are twins, yeah,
Yeah.
and
You must introduce me to your twin. Yeah, I hadn't met them.
yeah, I will take him next time for our walk. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good. So it's just saying here, so cryptography is the science, skill, or activity of creating and analyzing codes. So
yeah, actually, what you said
technically.
before, yeah,
And cracking codes, I suppose, really. That's normally what I think about it as. So shall I read that back? Or
Yeah,
maybe the word, I think it sort of came out. So this is the word we say. This is tech,
tech.
tech.
I said tech. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
tech.
tech. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, tricky.
Yeah.
And a few times I think it was this word here when you said it. It was much more like zay. Like you put
And
the you made the th into a z, so zay. I think it was this one.
the, they,
Yeah, yeah, they,
the,
they.
they,
Okay, so
alongside, yeah, alongside. Uh, how about baked? Baked. Yeah.
yeah, baked. So does your fiance do any cooking? Does she bake any cakes?
Yeah, she is. Yeah, but actually, it's made me confused when I see these words in this context, and it's actually made me uh, uh, mixed up.
Yeah, understand. So what would it be like if your fiance baked into a cake your car keys into the cake in the middle of it, say? What would
If
happen? Would you be happy? Would you eat the
no,
cake?
no, no, it's
What would you
actually.
do? What would you do?
I will uh, take it from the cake and I will wash it and
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
I will.
you'd probably cut the cake in the middle, get your car keys out. Yeah. So what they're saying here is that the the technology, it's baked into the device. So the only way you're going to get the technology out of the device is to smash it into bits. You can't get it out. You can't get it out. You can get your car keys out of a cake or a loaf maybe, but they wouldn't be the same, would they? They wouldn't be quite the same. They'd be all the plastic would have melted. It would be useless probably. You could probably still use them, I suppose. But in this sense, you what they're saying here is you can't get it out. It's inside. It's part of the machine or whatever it is, or part of the software. It might be part of the software if it. But normally tech is hardware. Often as not, tech can mainly be hardware in this context. I think. Does that make sense? It's baked in, so it's included. It's normal. They've put it. They've made it so it's right in the middle, and you can't get it out and can't be changed. I suppose it's more secure. I think. Well, just like with your iPhone and you use your face to unlock it, that's what they're saying. You can't remove it. It's there. It's just the way it works.
Yeah, yeah, but actually it is my
Yeah.
choice if I
Mm.
want to have it switch
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. But it's still there though,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
if you're not
it is
using
the
it. So
yeah.
I, I normally don't lock my phone because I'm normally looking at it for the sake of a map on my phone. I'm always looking at it. So
Ah,
if I don't want to keep having to unlock it, there's a nuisance if you're looking at the map all the time. So yeah, yeah. So I've
yeah,
just essentially it's switched off when I'm using it for the most part. Okay, I didn't read that. Let me just read it back and then we'll
yeah.
scroll on. Well, maybe we'll just play this little video. I guess what's that's below.
Okay. Mm.
And maybe we'll end it there, perhaps. So passkeys are a piece of digital information which is tied to a user's account and unique to each site or app they use. So in other words, you just like with a password, you might have the same password on all of your websites that you use. But here they're saying you can't do that. It doesn't work that way. Each are unique to or the app or site that they use. So unique obviously means it one and only. There's not two and only, it's just one and only. So they use cryptography to perform checks at device level. So somehow your smartphone or your computer, whatever it is, that's checking somehow using cryptography. So they usually work alongside tech already baked into devices like smartphones such as Face ID and Touch ID on iPhone and Face Unlock on Google Pixel phones. Okay, let's scroll down. So this must be the phone, I guess, and it says passkeys saved, and I guess it's his face here. So the little title below says, "Are passkeys the future of online security?" So let's play this then, see what happens.
Passkey acts a little bit like a key card. It checks who I am as well as if I have the right code.
It's the BBC, I think.
But with passkeys, it's all done on a device and with clever encryption. Setting up a passkey takes a few minutes. The online service asks you to verify your identity using your device. It's not hard, but it is more of a hassle than setting up a username and password like we've always done. So why is this huge shift taking place? And is it worth it? Well, it's because passwords are, and always have been, a terrible way to keep us safe.
And that was it. Okay. Okay. Should we carry on reading, or should give it a break there?
It's up to you. It's up to you.
One of the reasons I'm asking is because it's almost impossible to just keep learning. And if you keep practicing hour after hour without a break, you're not really learning. You sort of stop learning. Really, after a few minutes, we sort of get a bit not bored of it, but it'd be sort of just a bit too much, really.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it makes
So
sense. Yeah.
it's really. Do you feel a slightly bit tired? If your brain feels a bit tired, and if you've just come in from work, you may feel tired as soon as you come into the class, which is obviously a bit difficult, but you have to try a little bit
Yeah,
harder.
yeah, it is. Yeah, actually, yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Mm. So yeah. So I think it's been about an hour. And we've actually been online for quite longer than that, almost 2 hours actually. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go back to the beginning again. So, do you think you'll be tempted to use the pass key, or are you doing it already?
Yeah, actually, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Yeah, but I just have on my phone just a few app,
Mm,
and I use pass key to unlock my phone,
mm,
and not for the banking because I'm not using pass key for the banking because you know what, I guess one day I can lost my phone,
oh,
and
okay.
yeah, it is actually terrible, and because when I buy a new phone, I need to have access for the banking, yeah, but
Mm,
I think it is problem to set up it again with the face and
mm,
approve that it is me, not another person. And for it, I just keep a normal password. And yeah,
yeah.
actually, I think like this.
Yeah, I think I'm sort of similar to you, really, in that sense. I don't do any banking on my phone because I rarely lock the thing, so I'm always using it in the open. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah, but it is actually the problem. People, for example, when I want to use Gmail, yeah,
Oh, Gmail.
Gmail, yeah,
Gmail. Yeah.
from the another place, for example, not from my home, but from the library from
Mm,
Edmonton Green. I just need to know my login and password and to get the message on my phone with a code, and that's it. Yeah, but what I'm not sure actually. Is it the same works with the Face ID? I will open the Gmail at library and it scan my face and it give me the access to use my Gmail in a library. I don't know actually.
Hmm.
It's
On your phone, you mean, or do you mean on the computer in the
on
library?
a computer, yeah?
Uh,
No,
I
actually,
don't think. I don't think the often the computers don't do that. I think, do they? I don't think the
yeah,
computers
yeah,
do
they
that.
don't,
And if you're
yeah,
tapping in a password, it won't be both of them. I don't think if it's a password. Often
yeah,
with Gmail, isn't there also if you haven't logged in for a while, they send you a code to your phone, to your
yeah,
mobile number or something.
exactly.
So
Or
that
for,
that is that called multiple or three-factor authentication? So sometimes written as 3FA. That's multi-factor authentication. So you've put in an email address, a password, and then you tap in a code number that they sent you. I think that's three things, isn't it? So yeah.
yeah, and actually, the same happen when you use a new device or
Mm.
other device from someone else. You need to do it again. Identification, yeah,
Right.
identification.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is new system tell us that, for example, if they create it in a like this like Gmail,
Gmail.
Gmail. It actually mean that we don't need to know the password. Just we need to show our face and it will be
Mm.
automatically open for us, I guess so, but
Yeah. That's the passkey, I guess.
I vaguely believe in that at the moment.
Yeah, I think that for the moment, as you say, I think it is safer than passwords. Yeah, you're using your face or your finger. There are some. Is there fingerprint? Is there a problem with fingerprints in that? I'm sure I heard there was a bit of a problem with the fingerprint business. I can't think what it is, but I think the face might be better. I don't know really. Yeah, I think the multiple factor one is good. I like that, where they send you an email with not an email, a text message and there's some sort of code in the text message that they've just sent to you. That sounds really good to me. That's normally a banking thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Also, just what I think of it. So, at the very beginning, when we started talking about this 2 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, you said a few app on your phone. No, no, because you said few, that means it's more than one. So the
Yeah.
app has to be plural, doesn't it? So it's not a few app. It has to be a few apps. It's got to be an
Um,
S on the end of the
yeah.
apps.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you know
Thank
that.
you. It's a
But
good
then
point.
you also said something similar with the I think you said something like it mean something something.
It means,
Yeah, that's it. That has to be plural too. That's right. Yeah. Minor. It's sort
yeah.
of minor in a way, but I could definitely understand what you were saying. But there you go. So
Yeah.
let's end the recording at this point.
Yeah.
So let's find the button.